Although the Thunder lost in the second round to the Dallas Mavericks, it was still a really successful season. And even though they lost sooner than they hoped, there were still many positives to take out of it. One of those being the fact that Chet Holmgren was not a normal rookie. And I'm not just saying that because he was drafted 2 years ago. After rewatching a few of the games, for some reason Chet was the player that stood out to me the most. He's been one of the biggest key players when it comes to unlocking the Thunder's offense. And on defense, he's already one of the best shot blockers in the entire league, which is something that was very evident during the regular season and especially in the playoffs. He had more blocks per game than anyone in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs while also being the team's 3rd leading scorer. I mean, he had a game where he had 4 blocks in a single half. At 7'1" and just 195 pounds, he has the length to block almost anything and the mobility to put himself in more shot blocking opportunities. Because he's so light, he will sometimes get bodied in the paint, but he's also so long that most of the time he'll block the shot regardless. He literally averaged 2.5 blocks throughout their 10 playoff games. But on top of playing really well on defense, he was just as good on offense. He averaged almost 16 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists a game. And if we're being honest, he played better than his numbers even give him credit for. He had multiple big-time plays throughout both series and didn't look like a rookie whatsoever. He actually embraced those big moments instead of shying away from them. Not only that, he finished just 1 game with a negative plus-minus, which just goes to show when he's on the court things run a lot better. The way he's able to play the 5 on defense while almost playing like a forward on offense makes him such a major threat. Him just being on the floor creates way more scoring opportunities for everyone else on the team. Because he's able to shoot threes, the opposing team's center can't just help off and guard in the paint. And even though he didn't really shoot all that well in the playoffs, especially in the Mavericks series, it didn't even matter. You still can't just leave him open, even if he's not shooting the best. And on top of being a catch and shoot or lob threat, he can create his own shot. Chet obviously isn't the best ball handler, but has enough handle and speed to consistently break down his defender. He can attack the rim whenever he wants or even get a good look in the mid-range. He was even creating shots off the dribble for his teammates. The fact that a 7-footer is doing all of this in his very first season is wild, and the fact that it's kinda just normal at this point is even crazier. I'm not saying he's perfect, but for him to be this advanced as someone that just turned 22 is really cool to see. In the Mavericks series, some of his flaws were exposed, especially while guarding Derek Lively. But at the same time, a lot of the credit just goes to Lively. He played extremely well in the series for another guy playing in his first season. The only thing that really anyone could do to stop him was an illegal knee to the back of the head. So I think Chet will be just fine. The only critique I had with him was with his rebounding, but that's something that he can easily improve on. Whether he continues to figure out how to use his body to his advantage or hop on that Giannis workout routine. But the impact he's had on his first season on a team that finished with the best record in a stacked Western Conference should be talked about more. And that's just what he did in the playoffs. His regular season numbers were even better. Chet went from being out all season with a foot injury to playing literally every single game during the regular season. He finished all 82, averaging 16.5 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists while shooting 53% from the field and 37% from 3. His offensive numbers were extremely good, but again, he might have been even better on defense. He averaged 2.3 blocks and half a steal per game and was second in the entire league in blocks. Chet had 7 games with 5 or more blocks, including an 8-block game against Denver that almost gave him a triple-double. He actually played so well defensively that he was just snubbed from the all-defensive second team. Obviously, only 10 players can make the all-defensive teams, but Chet finished 13th in voting. He was right on the border. I mean, he was the anchor on the 4th-ranked defense and contested the 3rd most shots per game out of any other player. Being able to do that in your very first year playing is not normal. If Chet was in any other rookie class that doesn't include Victor Wembanyama, then he would have gotten 10 times more praise and more than likely the Rookie of the Year trophy. People were so amazed by the things Wemby was doing that people didn't really give Chet nearly as much attention as he deserved. And he also played with Shea, who was the main story when it came to the Thunder. But when you compare Chet to the other rookies, he stands out even more. He was 3rd in points per game, 2nd in rebounds and blocks per game, plus he was 9th in assists. He averaged those numbers while playing every single game of the season. Chet came in second in the Rookie of the Year voting but was named to the All-Rookie First Team. Just a great season, and he's only going to get better from here. If you remember when Chet was drafted, he was being called the next KD and considered a future star. He really was Wembanyama before Wembanyama. I made a video about him before he even committed to Gonzaga. He was that hyped up just coming out of high school. He could do basically everything, and the only real concern people had was with his weight, which he's now shown isn't as big of a problem as people thought. Everyone was extremely interested to see how Chet was going to play during his rookie year. But then in the summer before this season, he was asked to play in a Pro-Am game against LeBron. And as a rookie, you cannot turn that down. What he could have done though is let LeBron score on this fast break in a less than meaningless exhibition game. Instead, he chose to go for the ball and hurt his foot so bad in the process that he had to miss his entire rookie season. This Reddit post pretty much sums up the entire situation perfectly. So coming into this season, we thought he was going to be good, but I don't think many people knew he was going to be this good, or how important he would be to this Thunder team. He was basically everything people hoped he would be. Him having to sit for an entire year sucked, but it also did definitely help him out at the same time. And even though he wasn't playing in any games, once his foot started to heal, he was doing some team drills at practice and was working with NBA trainers. Chet was able to watch and observe everything while getting to know his team. Not something that you ever want to happen, but there were still positives that came out of it. It's also just nice to see a really good young player on a good team. OKC is a young player's dream, and it allows him to skip the phase where the team just wastes the first few years of his career. Not only do the Thunder have a great team right now, but they're only gonna get better. They are all extremely young and under contract for multiple years. Plus, they still have a ton of draft picks to work with going forward. If you want to know how to quickly rebuild a team, just look back at what the Thunder did over the last few years. Not too long ago, that team was made up of Carmelo Anthony, Paul George, and Russell Westbrook, and now they've turned it into a completely new young franchise. They've traded for the right players and have hit on basically every single one of their draft picks. Except for that Gordon Hayward trade, where their GM literally said that he missed on that one. Everyone on their team has embraced a role, and it's made their team what it is today. From the amazing post-game interviews to the fact that the entire team came to his high school for his jersey retirement, their chemistry is unmatched on and off the court. We don't know how good Chet would have been if he played his rookie year, but if this is the worst version of him that we'll see, then he's going to become a really, really good player. But let me know down in the comments what you think about Chet Holmgren, and please leave a like on the video to support the channel. Also, subscribe if you're new for more basketball videos just like this one.